Well, hello, welcome back. I'm Claire, this is Purple Poppy, and this is our first Stitchery Sunday of 2024. As you can see, Santa bought me a fabulous giant new felt mat. Absolutely love it. Now, I did tell you last year that I wasn't going to be following Roxy's Journal of Stitchery this year. Having said that, the ladies have now released the information that it's not really a continual project as it's been in the past. It's single projects. So if one comes up that I fancy, I may well pop in and do it. I did tell you that I was going to be doing this book of flowers, and we made a little start by quilting the paper and just doing some meadow flowers there, and then I just did a winter page there to finish that half. Now I've come to realise that one of the reasons I haven't finished my Down the Garden Path book is because this whole business of doing that page and doing this page and then stitching them together, it doesn't work well with me. I don't like it. I don't like how it ends up with all this stitching around here. So I've had an idea, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call them pillowcases. I'm going to do it in pillowcases. So what I'm going to do is the next page that I do will be on here as it was before, okay? But what I'm going to do is when I finish my page, I'm going to put right sides together and I'm going to stitch it like that so that I can then turn it all inside out like a pillowcase, and it will be seamed secretly, if you like, already. And then I'll do the same with this one. I'll do this one, but then when I've done this one, I'll put them together, right sides, seam it all, turn it inside out and come back. So that's how I'm going to be working on this project. But enough talking, let's move on. Now, I've wanted to do one of these applique type flowers for some time. Now I'm turning my iron on because I want to get a really good crease line in my fabric, because I want to make sure, Boo's always here for the journey, isn't she? Look, I want to make sure that I only work within there and that I leave myself a good seam space around the edge. So with my fabulous new mat, I'm just going to iron a seam. Two new mats. I had a smaller than the one I had green cutting mat, and then I've had this fabulous larger than I had felt mat. Okay, so we've done that, and as I say, I've wanted for some time to do an applique, one of these applique flowers. So I open it back out because I've got my lovely crease there. Okay, so what I've done here is I've got a piece of lace doily and I've stuck onto it some like hearts, can you see, in coordinating fabrics. I stuck a piece of lace on top of that one, and then with my pink, I cut it all with pinking shears. I cut a large circle and a small circle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my flower towards the top. I've cut out two leaf shapes. I'm going to put one about there, and I'm going to put one about there, and obviously I'm going to stitch a stalk down there, and then I'm going to stitch all through these, maybe put some beads or some French knots in the middle there, not quite sure. But I also wanted to keep the slow stitch sort of mentality going with it. So here I've got my leftover reds bundles from my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, And I thought, oh look at this beautiful red seam, I would do a little bit of like slow stitch for the background. So if I move that up there for a minute, I'm thinking, look at this, it's gorgeous, isn't it? So if I take my fabric shears and I'm just gonna cut a small piece of this out, not even straight as you can see, but we've got that piece, and then I think maybe that will sit under there like so, and then maybe some of this red dot would be nice, so just cut a piece of this to sort of sit on there, and it's got to go underneath because, well, just because it has. And then what else have we got? That's like, oh, we've got this lovely stripe, so cut, say, a piece of that and that. So if this comes further down, oh, now I've got to remember my seam allowance, you see, so I think we're going to cut this a little bit shorter and a little bit shorter there, and try and straighten it up because I didn't cut that very straight. Right, so we bring it in because obviously we need our seam. I'm going to put that one across there, and then maybe that one across there like that. That's lovely. And then I'm going to have a bit of lace as well. So do I want lace on all of it? No, I don't. So I think I want a little bit in that corner, so just gonna trim this to a bit of a square, and it's just gonna sit on that corner like that. That's just to add my sort of slow stitch, you know, sort of ethos to it. And then I have got here some of this beautiful vintage gingham, and I think I'm just going to cut a strip of this to sit across that top there. Our flower sits there, doesn't it? Like that. So we've got the big bit here and the little bit there. So I'm just going to use some glue stick just to hold these pieces in place. So a little bit there, and then a little bit there, and a little bit there. Straighten it back up like that. Okay. And then just a little bit of this lace was on this corner like that. Okay. And then I'm going to stick down my leaves. So this one is going to go there. This one is going to come down and across like so. Do a little bit along there for our gingham. Beautiful vintage gingham. It's not modern. I've got some modern, and it's amazing the difference. And then I'm just going to put some glue stick on my flower, and it's going to go there, like so. Okay, so we've got all our pieces on, and now we can break out our threads and we can do some sewing. Let's just move all that over there a little bit, cover up my scissors. Okay, so I had all these lovely new threads, didn't I, for Christmas? Do you remember? In my advent. That's the Sashiko stitching that I did at Christmas. Right, so we need a good green for our stalk. No. I think. No. No. Oh, this is not boding well, is it? All these threads and I can't find the right green. Now, of course, this is the right green, but it's ribbon. And I didn't really want to use ribbon. Oh, I quite like that one. That's too light. What if I wind these two together? What do we think about that? Sorry, I'm... Oh, yeah, you see. Right, so I've got them. And then to stitch our flowers, I'm going to use probably that pink. Hang on, think again. What about this one? That's an awesome colour on there. And then maybe this one. And then for my centre, don't really want white. I think we'll go for this light gold. There you go. So let's have a little look. So the first thing that I'm going to do is cut myself a nice length from the two greens. Okay. I am then going to split my greens because these are DMC 6 strand, and I'm going to split to 2. So there's my 2, and then I'm going to pull 2 of the dark green as well, or not. So I've not asked, how are you all? Did you have a fabulous Christmas? Right, so there's my 2 and my 4. For some reason it was easier with the light green. There's the 4 over there, and there's my 2. And I'm going to get my needle in, and I'm going to put these in together. So we're working on 4 strands. Like so. They're slightly different lengths, so I'm just going to make them even, and then we're going to put this into our needle, Okay, and that's hopefully going to work out really nice. So I'm going to start right down the bottom here like this, and I'm just going to do a back stitch. So make sure we get it nice and even, and then back down that hole, forward. You know how to do back stitch, don't you? Okay, not worried that it's slightly off skew, because I'm going to go back and do that whipping that I usually do, A, to thicken it, and B, to combine all that. Okay, I've done an awful lot of talking today with all that sort of intro. Now I'm going to vary the style through this book, through the year. Yes, I'm going to do all flowers. I've called it meadow flowers, but a lot of them will be sort of semi-fictitious flowers, like this one. I am going to semi-follow Corinne from Laughter Treasures by Corinne. See, and I'm just going to now feed my needle through backwards and whip all the way down this to just thicken up that stalk a little bit, because her and is it Suzanne, I think, from Vintage Blend Studios, they're doing sort of real flowers rather than stylized ones, and yeah, I'm sure there will be some flowers that I do through this book that will be, you know, much more realistic. Draw down a rose or whatever, and there. So now we've got a nice little stalk for our flower, and then I'm going to come back up to the bottom of that leaf like so, and I'm going to draw on some spines. But yeah, and I did think originally that I might do, you know, flower of the month, so like now being January, I would have done something like snowbells, and I just thought, do you know what, no, if that happens one month, fine, but I'm not going to stick to it religiously. I'm just going to do some general stitching and flowers, some whimsical, some real. Okay, so you can see we're starting, don't want that red thread in there, do we? Get rid of that before I stitch it in. We're starting to put some like veins onto this leaf. With this same thread. So what are your projects for the year? Have you got any plans for projects yet, or are you just seeing what develops? Right, I'm going to have to find more thread. So just finish that off like that, and pull another 2 and 2. So we get 3 this way, don't we? 3 lots. Oops. Okay. I'm going to check the camera in a minute. A4 to make sure I'm not off and you can't really see what I'm doing. You can sort of see, but we could afford to come up a bit more, really. Pull my chair in a bit closer, and B, also to see how long I'd been here. Right. But not in there. Join them all together, and they were different lengths, weren't they? So gonna need to trim a little bit off. Haven't got much to say really, to be honest. Hubby and I were both a little bit poorly over Christmas, so we didn't really do much except rest, watch some real cheesy TV as you do at Christmas. That was about it really, but it was nice. It gave time to, you know, rest and recuperate and all that, so that was good. I did see all of my children yesterday. My 2 daughters came with all 3 grandchildren, just briefly, because they're all back to school today, so it was just a case of last little, you know, bit of a mix up before they went back to school. So that was a surprise. They just suddenly appeared at the door, but it was a very nice surprise. So that was that. But that's about all that's happened really. Get rid of that white thread. Right, I quite like that. So now we're going to do the same again on this side. Ow, just stabbed my finger. And my thumb, as you saw. Goodness me. This is actually quite a sharp needle. The lovely Denise gave me some actual Sashiko printed panels for Christmas. So I have been doing some white Sashiko stitching on the indigo fabric over the holiday. It was nice and quiet in the chair. I carried on with my heirloom calendar. All the components are now complete, but I haven't actually sewn it all together. To be honest, I was at the situation where I was like, my brain is not working well enough. Not that it's difficult, but it's so special I didn't want to do, you know, mess it up. And I felt that my brain was not working cohesively enough to do it. So I've got all the components together, and over the next, you know, week or so, as I gradually feel more and more in control of my brain from this horrendous cold thing that we've had, I will work on that, and I will show it to you when it's done. I know a number of you followed along as I was doing it, so and obviously we're not going to get all of this done today, are we? Because you'll be here forever, and I'm sure that's not what you want. See, I stood up just now and checked how long we'd been here and I've forgotten already. Crazy. The brain's just not working. So having done this leaf, I think that's a postman, so I'm sorry if Boo starts barking. Because obviously I'm filming ahead, it's not really Sunday. When I've done this leaf, I'm going to leave the top flower for the time being, and I'm going to look at doing some slow stitch onto those red pieces that are at the bottom. So see, that's where the glue's not properly holding, but it's only to hold it in place. It's not long term going to be like that. So I like my little flower. I love the leaves. Let me just double check the time again. Oh, we've only been here half an hour. That's perfect. So I think what I'm going to do, excuse me, is I'm going to join the last one and I'm going to do some, is it leaf or fern stitch? See, this is what happens, too much talking and the voice goes again and I start coughing. I do apologise. Right, so I'm going to join these together. Ready to do that ferny stitch there, but in the meantime I would like to do some just sort of burrow stitch and crosses and things like that. I don't really want to use white. I'm going to use this like creamy colour. So this is the Sweet Treats, the Sheepy Sweet Treats. It's one of the new ones I had for Christmas. And we're gonna feed this through and we're going to do a little bit of work over this slow stitch patches. So I'm going to come in there and I'm just going to down, up, down, and pull that through. Oh, it's always a knot, isn't there? I know, it's because I use my threads too long. Right, and as you can see, that is anything but straight, but hey ho. Right, so then we're going to go down, up, down, down, and hopefully by doing it all on the needle it'll be a bit straighter. Yeah, it is. So then I'm going to move across to about there, flick through, and then go again with the down and up and down and up. And of course each row has got a little bit longer. I'm aware my stitches are different sizes, which is, you know, not good practice really, is it? But it is what it is. Right. It's a right mess really, but and I'm going to deliberately do long, short, short, long. Like that. And then we're going to come, because I'm missing the white line deliberately, the white circle, not line. And turn it round. I have signed up to Stitching Along with Anne Brooke this year. It's one of my projects. It was Anne Brooke that actually got me stitching originally during lockdown with her tags. That's when I started this stitching journey. So I thought, you know what, let's give back a little bit. She started this for me. So I've signed up and I'm going to stitch along with Anne. I think she said Monday. I think it starts next Monday. It's on her Ko-fi site, if anybody's interested and hasn't seen it yet. It is a paid for thing, but it's not a fortune. So I just thought, you know, I'm loving it. I am growing. I am getting better. Although that would argue that that's not the case. But I just wanted to work, you know, along someone who knew what she was doing. I mean, yes, I followed Jennifer Clouston, and that's been awesome. And I've done those sort of ferny type flowers. But now I'd like to concentrate on a sort of piece of art, if you like. And the thing that Anne Owl is doing this year, I mean, obviously I can't share too much because it's her program and it's paid for. But what I can tell you is that she's doing, I imagine, one a month because there's 12 of them. She's doing 12 pieces of stitchery, which is going to be a form of art. That's about as much as I think I can say without, you know. And I really liked that idea. I feel like for all the stitching that I have done and learned over the last couple of years, not done anything that was really art. So I like that idea. I'm going to have a go at that and see if I can't get a piece of artwork that I'm pleased with. So pleased enough to actually put on the wall. Wow, there's a thought. Anyway, so that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing this year. Whoops. Oh no, that is right. I thought I had weird thread going on. Just stretch that out a little bit. Do this last little line here. So obviously I'm just basically stitching white lines onto the red lines. Okay, and then I need to look at the lace and how I'm gonna deal with this piece of lace. So I'm gonna come down to, oh, I'll tell you what we do. We come down to the centre of the flower, and then we'll do like a starburst. So we've got a line there and a line there and a line into there. Just bringing all of these around like that. And that's the last petal, I think, there. So we've just got like that little starburst there, and I think here I'm gonna stitch through. Oh, I pulled the needle off now. Stitch through this leaf. So we'll just pop this needle back on, and then I think we'll finish there for today, and then when I come back next time we can look at that top flower. It's original, you know, the actual flower. Right, so I'm just gonna stitch through the centre if I can. Oh, that's quite tough because there's many layers there. And I think on the gingham at the top I'll do some very obvious cross stitches. I mean, I know it's a bit sort of expected and not overly imaginative, but that's what I think I'm going to do up there. I might just come up here, and then we've got something on all of the pieces, haven't we? Right, come up there, go round, and then 1, 2, 3. Just pull that. That's a Jennifer Clouston stitch, isn't it? Just there, just for a little bit of interest. And then we'll just finish this off. And of course I could technically have saved quite a lot of thread by tying off and finishing, but that's not my style, is it? Just stick this back down because that's starting to flap around a bit and drive me a little insane. Right, so I think I'm just going to do a couple of crosses up on this red. Now I think what we're going to do, start in that corner and come up to this corner, that's white on white, and then I'm going to go over here. So I've missed one, missed two, and then I'm going to do the same thing again, and then I'm going to go over two and across there, and then 1, 2, and up, and then 1, 2, and down, and then across, and then 1, 2, and up. Do you know what? Now that I'm doing it, I'm wondering if I really do want to do crosses, or whether I just want to do these odd dashes. Quite like it. So then if I go down to there, and put one across there, or do you know what? We could do naughty crosses in that I could now do the cross the other way in a different coloured thread. How novel. So we'll bring that over there, and then we'll put that one over there. That one's actually going the wrong way. Never mind, I can live with it. And then if we use a bit of this red, and go back up the other way, I think is what we're going to do. Oh, it's only 11:30. I thought it was lunchtime. My belly's starting to rumble. Right. Because at the moment it's a bit sort of like not finished seed stitch. But if I just go across there and finish my crosses in this different colour, it's a bit novel, isn't it? Just because I can, really. See now, although putting crosses or kisses on gingham is quite predictable, doing it in this two-tone has made it not so much so. Well, that's what I think anyway. So there you go. I do like things to be a little bit different if I can. But you can see the doily. That's how thin this cotton is. Right, trim that off. I'm going to leave you there so you can go off and do what it is you need to do with your busy day. And then when we come back, I'm going to do some fern stitch, sort of sprigging off those leaves, and then we'll concentrate on the flower. I think it'll probably only take 2 videos, won't it? But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you found some fun and inspiration. I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.